All right, welcome to another edition of Beginner Breakdown, first one of year 2016. The club hosted a tournament called Chess 16 on January 2nd, and there was an under 1500 section. The Open was obviously won by none other than Grandmaster Ben Feingold. But the under 1500 had some very interesting games, and this is one of the biggest comebacks we've seen in a while. So playing white is Dr. Andre Morris against one of the students, Christopher Byron. Okay. So they start out D4, D5, and E3. Probably not recommended blocking in that bishop. All right. So knight C6, gets his knight out. He pins the knight. So white decides, I'm going to pin your knight. So bishop takes the knight. Probably not recommended because you really don't want to be capturing pin pieces. You'd rather try to attack them. But now he gets his queen out to take back. And now he decides he does not want the double pawns if bishop takes, knight check. So he blocks with the queen. So if bishop takes, he can just take back with the queen. Okay. So white decides to play A3. Does anybody know why he might have had the reason why to play A3, even though it's a dubious reason? So white thought if he just plays like a random move, the queen could come down here and win the bishop. But what move could white simply play so the queen couldn't take the bishop without major consequences? Knight C3, excellent. And then he'd be fine. So and another move he could have done if he didn't want to get checked like that is simply castle, right? All right, but he thought A3 is going to stop it all. Okay, or just play the move knight C3 outright. Okay. All right, so A3, A6. So he can't resist taking with check, and the queen takes. And so the queen's coming down on the pawn, so he brings out his knight. He gets his knight out, and now white gets castled. So you'll see this in a lot of amateur games. They get castled on one side, and their opponent's like, I'm going to castle on the other side. And there it is. So it makes for a fun game, but somebody might get checkmated early. You can sit right up front. Yeah. All right, so B3. Much more ambitious is B4, trying to break open the lines. So queen retreats. He plays H3 here. C6, knight A4. So he's threatening a big check, huh? So maybe we want to do something about that. I like it. Okay, so he puts his queen to protect the square. So white, he's trying to bust open that C file so he can potentially pin the rook, queen, and king. So now Christopher plays knight, attacks the bishop. Okay, and he's also threatening a fork if he gets it too. So how would we go about this situation? Any ideas? Rook E1 or Rook D1, right? I like that move actually. So that's fine. Computer recommends queen to E2. But yeah, the bottom line is you just want to protect the bishop. When he plays bishop to C3, it allows a tactic. So basically, who is protecting the bishop? Somebody's protecting the bishop. The white knight, right. But the white knight is easily attacked, right? So what should we play here to win a piece? Well, we don't actually go to A5 because while it attacks the knight, it drops the queen.
On B7 to
B5, excellent. So that's what you want to play. Pawn takes. Which pawn will we take back with, the A or the C? A pawn, right, because we don't want to break open the C file for him. And then he's got to make the choice, you know, who do I want to lose? And so we would win a piece. Instead, he just takes it, and so he survived that, okay? So bishop and now the queen are in the same diagonal here. But is this very scary for white? Was that check going to kill you? And in fact, if he plays that check and he doesn't get out of it, we can play G3 and box in his bishop and win the bishop. So you much rather have the queen coming down first because it's checkmate instead of just a simple check. Okay. So, but he's gonna deal with it anyway. He doesn't want to get checked. So G3, queen up. So when he plays his knight back to A4, what can we take now that our queen and bishop are working as a team again?
White pawn in A3.
Correct. Yep. Good. And so now he's going to try to box in the bishop, but as you'll see, he's going to be too slow. So what move do we have to play now? Because he just played C5. So yeah, I mean, that looks good, but unfortunately the knight can take it. Whoop. So we have to play bishop to B4. He gets our big check in. And the king to B8. So rook to A4. Looks pretty good, but we can protect it with the pawn. All right, so now he offers the queen trade. And so white has the opportunity to give black double pawns. Instead, he's like, I don't want you to have double pawns. I want the double pawns. So that's really not very good. So now he's got his double pawns going. But I guess he figured I can't get checked on the G file. But okay. So H6, king up, F6, king up. We'll see in this game, white makes a lot of king moves, but they don't really get them too good. All right, so now Christopher's got the G file, so very important. White's rook isn't doing too much over here. He probably wants to get that rook in the game eventually, but instead he's just going to move over his king a lot. So he gets checked and king up. All right, so now white's got the G file, so he's feeling pretty good. He's threatening check to fork the pawn, so that was good. Black really shouldn't have conceded the G file. He should have checked with the other rook. But oh well. All right. So he's going to challenge the G file anyway, so he'll get the G file back. So now he's finally activated his rook. So now he's taking the G file back. Bishop to E1 attacks the pawn. It's protected by the rook, so he's going to just do his own thing and play rook check. Yeah, so we got two king moves here. We can play B8 or D8. Anybody like to go to D8? D8. What is not so cool about going to D8 in this position? Yes. You get checkmated. Okay, we got a whiz kid in the audience tonight. I like it. I like it. I like it. And so yeah, so we don't want to walk into checkmate. All right, so king to B8. All right, so he gets checked though, and now a lot of pawns are going to fall here. All right, so we got rid of a lot of queenside pawns here. And so knight up, bishop attacks the rook. The only move To not lose material is rook over. King backwards. Who likes that move? Probably the player playing black, huh? Because he just voluntarily removed the defender of his pawn. Not very good. All right, so black takes like another pawn. So rook up, attacks it, rook over. A4. Was that a good move for black? No, because you only have one defender and he's got two attackers. So make sure you have just as many defenders as the guy has attackers. But luckily, he doesn't see it and plays check, king. Now everybody's favorite opening guy, Jonathan Schrantz, was taking a look at this position and he came down and told the guy's parents there's no way he can lose. Even if he loses all his pawns, he still cannot lose this game. So let's see if how good his pronostications are here. All right. Black, yeah, let's get the black rook. Well, even if we got the black rook, we still might not win this game. But so we got to go for the king here.
Yeah, if he did it, he would still be able to.
Yeah, he still might be able to get a passed pawn. So, all right, so he attacks, he defends, attacks the bishop. So, bishop moves. So now he's threatening discovered check. But he's like, you know what, I got such an insurmountable lead, and we don't even care. I'm just going to go get my queen, and I don't even care about you and your discovered checks. So he's like, fine, if you don't care, I'm not going to play discovered check then. And so now, now he's like, okay, enough of this. So big check. King to B8. Or C8. King B8 is what, well, not King B8. King B6 is the best. But King C8 is played, and somebody is going to be really mad in about 2 seconds. And his name is Christopher Byron. Everybody see what white did to him? Mate, yeah. Always look for those checkmates, yeah. Game 65 with a 5-second delay. So they had plenty of time to figure out not to get checkmated, right? Yeah, a big thing is don't walk into checkmate. He could just play here and...
Hey, Mike, I wasn't paying attention at the beginning. Was that Cramner Carlson?
Not quite. But it could be in the future. You never know. All right. So that was a funny checkmate. Here's another funny checkmate from the game. It's a regular on beginner breakdown, unfortunately. Robert Beekman with white against Zaid. All right. So let's see how Robert manages to do. Robert's got the white pieces. This is the Sicilian. I mean, if you go to tournaments, you'll probably see this on the board, at least 25% of the games. Very popular opening. All right, he doesn't want to be checked, doesn't want any knights to come in. That's fine. So bishop d3, not the most active position for the bishop, and it also undefends the knight. So he attacks the knight, knight retreats. Bishop up, bishop. So knight attacks some stuff. I mean, much better is just you get castled and safe, and then you can go on and do all the craziness. So bishop attacks the knight, takes the bishop, queen takes. Bishop, pins the knight. So he wants to play h6. And once again, like we saw in the other game, they just take and just relieve the pressure, and the queen gets active. So not the best way to go. So castle. So Zaid, Robert's opponent, is just going to play it safe and castle king side. Notice, well, castle and queen side's kind of dangerous in a lot of positions. This one, it would be even worse because the c file is already open. So there's nothing wrong with castle on the same side as your opponent. But Robert's he's going to go for it with f4. But what is wrong with the move f4 here?
Robert's black.
Robert is playing the white pieces. He just played f4. So notice, you should always look, the simplest solutions are always the right one, right? Sometimes. So you just want to look, okay, what happens if I capture? Okay, he'll capture back either with the knight or the rook. Doesn't matter. And then what can, where can my queen go that it couldn't when my pawn was on e5? We should be able to calculate, 2, 3 moves deep. It's not the most complicated thing in the world. Yes.
Queen to D.
Yeah. Well, we do have a check, but we rather have material. And then if he attacks us, we can check him, okay? And then we can save our B pawn if we want, which we'll probably do, okay? So instead, he just retreats the queen, and now the white's F pawn keeps going. So G6 here.
That's not really the move. Then
Yeah. As a player in the audience suggests, that really wasn't the move. There's no reason to bring open your kingside pawns when you don't have to. So now the queen pins it, and so now he's like, okay, queen up. So captures, pawn takes, pawn takes, pawn takes. And now he's got a check, king up, and so black's pawn structure isn't the best, and white should have a slight advantage here. Rook attacks the pawn, so check. So there's no real good way to save this backwards pawn. So he tries to play some interference and put his knight in between it, but Robert's like, go away. And so he does. So bishop takes, rook takes. Rook to c8, not really threatening much. So knight up, a5, knight up. So now he decides, hey, I'm going to put my rook on an active file here. Yeah, uh-oh. So,
Large wager on black.
yeah. So unfortunately, Robert, he wants to just attack his opponent's bishop
Where's the bishop go?
when he should have been thinking about what threats he has. So another funny checkmate. All right, so you gotta watch out. Checkmate can happen at any time if you're not careful, okay? All right, so we're gonna give Robert some redemption, even though this checkmate isn't like the funniest, but we gotta give him a win on this series one time or the other. So this was round 3. He's like, I'm not kidding around after all this. I'm just going to get you. He's playing a guy that Keith Bass calls not very good. So this guy isn't the best he's playing. All right, so here we go. So Robert's got the white pieces, and he's looking for to crush here, okay? Yeah. All right, so bishop to b4, not the best place for the bishop. So he attacks it, and so now the bishop is on a good diagonal. All right, so he gets his bishop on the good diagonal, threatening the pivotal f7 square. So knight up, pawn attacks the bishop. So we should probably take it one way or the other. All right, but instead he takes the pawn. So pawn takes the bishop, knight takes. And now we have a decent, well, we got a lot of decent moves. But all right, so knight takes the pawn. Knight to e4. So he's just asking for it here. Black really needed to get castled in this position for the only way to win. But yeah, white has a lot of good moves here. I mean, just take your pick, right? Queen to d5. Knight takes f7 is obviously probably the best. Bishop takes check. They're all good. It's not checkmate. Maybe it could lead to checkmate, though.
Bishop out. Love bishop.
Yeah, unfortunately, the knight would get us. But yeah, we could play like maybe queen here. That looks good. It all looks good. But all right, but Robert's going to take it slow. All right, queen to d3. So knight protects f7. But he's like, I don't care. And so he takes. See your queen. Yeah. Yeah, it's very disappointing.
Come on, guys. And he's nice.
So now what do you want to play here?
Take knight.
No, we have even better than take knight. Robert's got no interest in taking that knight.
Bishop.
The black bishop, yeah. Check. And then we got another check. Check with the queen.
No, queen down.
Queen down.
Then queen there.
Go queen here or here?
There.
There?
White space.
White space, right. Because, yeah, we don't want him running out of f7. All right, so good for Robert. He got on the board, got to finish with a point. You know.
Did his opponent that game win the tournament?
Guy's got a long way to go. All right, so now we're going to see how the champions do it, okay? The two guys that actually won the U1500 section, okay? So we got Kirby Compton with white against Bobby Casey, all right? All right, so Kirby is he's the co-winner along with Matthew Manley. All right, so here comes Kirby. All right, E4, it's a Sicilian. This is actually a really good way to play against the Grand Prix attack with this A6 maneuver. That way his light square bishop doesn't have much to do. And you don't have to worry about getting checkmated real quick. So A3. See a lot of A3s in the under 1500 section. But that's all right. All right. So they're kind of maneuvering. Black's getting a lot of space. So white wants to kind of cramp him up with E5. So G3, he's going to fianchetto his bishop here. So now he's going to try to bust open on the queen side here. So now black has a passed A pawn here, but it is isolated. And but long term, it could be a bad thing, it could be a good thing. It just depends on what you do with it. All right, so white gets castled here. Black should probably be thinking the same thing. Instead, he's going to move his knight around.
I think get rid of that pawn on D5 is probably like.
Well, you never know. You never know. All right, so he's going to try to team up and get this pawn.
There's a knight there.
But yeah, there's a knight there. Right, right. I'm talking long term, right. All right, so queen up, forcing the queen trade. Right. And the computer is really loving white here, even though the material's equal. He just thinks white's just great. So let's see if he can do something with this advantage, a positional advantage. So knight there, he found the move. All right, so it's going to be really tough for us to protect this pawn. So he's not even going to try. He doesn't even want to, he was going to go there. So now bishop protects the pawn, but it's just too late. So king up, and knight retreats. Attacks the new pawn, right. So,
Also the bishop. My bishop.
so he's got two players on it. So it's going to be really tough for him to get this, yeah. So black made a lot of nonsensical knight moves early in the game, and he's paying for it now. There goes his pass pawn. G5. There goes his knight. There goes his pawn. All right. Now, yeah. Almost mate. So let's start working on mate here.
Bishop takes pawn 5. I can't read.
Bishop takes G5.
Yeah, G5. That's
I like it. Do we want to go here or here?
No, a bit left.
Left. You're correct. You want to go left.
So you can,
So you can keep playing the game, right? Yeah.
go up and down.
All right. But when he goes to E8, yeah. Yep. So you're like the fork and the thing. We want to get right in his face and be like, checkmate. Okay? So yeah, there's nowhere to go. So if you look at what black did in that game, you know, instead of trying to get his dark squared bishop to move one time, you know, he made a lot of knight moves for no reason, you know. Like that knight. Yeah, you just want to get your bishop out, get castled, and then try an attack here, but wasted way too much time. All right, so now here's the final game, Matthew Manley against Aaron Lin. And Matthew saw that his competitor, Kirby, checkmated with a bishop, and he did not want to be outshined, okay? So let's check out this funny checkmate here, okay? So Matthew has the white pieces against Aaron. And Aaron usually plays much better than this, even though he's still a youngster and getting better every day. But this wasn't his best performance. Yes, Queen's Gambit, which it kind of lets his all of Aaron's pieces get very activated now. So not the best opening for white when there's so many other good ones. Yeah, so he broke the pin with the bishop. So now Aaron makes a mistake a lot of amateurs do and tries to chase out the bishop. By doing this, when you get castled later on, you're going to have a lot of weak squares, you know? So there's no reason to really do that. All right, so he thinks like, wow, I'm going to get your knight for the bishop. There's nowhere your bishop can go where it cannot get captured. Yeah, but the queen can just take it. Not very good.
Queen says that's a manly move.
Nice. I hope Ben Simon can put in the caption on that one, because it was a great one. It was a great. All right.
Yeah, he lost both.
Yep. So yep. There goes all of. Yeah, and like in the previous game, you know, where white had, you know, the knight block to save it. Nope. So queen takes. So he takes check. You might as well take his other pawn. Just take all his stuff. You know, you're up. You might as well just trade it all. Knight takes check. King up. And knight retreats.
He can't pin.
No, nothing to pin here. All right, knight retreats. King up. Rook. So now, notice he put his knight in a pin, but I don't think it's really going to hurt him. So now he's threatening, he's got another pin going. Aaron's got that going. But when he plays check, he's in no risk of getting rook takes check, because black is in check. So, king out of check. So rook takes, threatening rook to c1 check, winning the white rook. So what should white play here?
King to white king to castle.
Yeah, you could play king to d1, king to e2, castle. You could play knight to c3, but castling's just the easiest. So bishop attacks the knight, knight retreats, king moves. Plays h3, does not want to get back row checkmated. Notice black has a light squared bishop, so doesn't have to worry about that. That's why h3 was much better than g3, because then there's no risk of a back row checkmate. All right. Well, Aaron, I mean, He's down a lot of pieces, but you know he's never going to quit fighting. So you got to like that about him. So big check here. Why can't black take the knight?
Because pawn's isolated.
Because his pawn is isolated. Because he's in an absolute pin, right? So he moves. So knight moves. Rook over. G4, exploiting the pin because a pawn takes. Well, the computer's not even letting them do it because it's still in a pin. But that pawn is in a lot of pins. All right. So you might as well just take the pawn. And it at least distracted Matthew from what he was doing. He was trying to, you know, checkmate the king, but I think now he's going to, well, play check first, and now, yeah, don't even bother.
Now that
All right.
he moves the E3 up one, and then
Yeah, he's going for it. He's going for it. But not really.
I'll move my pawn though.
That was not the best move on the board for black. Not that he's been making great moves all in a row.
You can move. The white knight can move D7 or
Not D7, but where could he go? F7 with the check via D7. Okay, fork. It's a double attack is a fork. So he's attacking both the king and the rook simultaneously, and life is good. But remember, he wants to get a funny checkmate here, okay? So let's try to get a funny checkmate going. All right, he's got a big queen now. White's lost. I do not like your evaluation. All right, what do you think?
nothing, pretty much nothing can get the bishop.
But he's not worried about the bishop right now. He wants to get the king, okay? And he wants to do it as fast as humanly possible, okay?
If he keeps him.
So we got a lot of great checks here.
For white or black.
I'm going to say white. Anybody have a guess? How? Queen down. Okay, down where?
F5.
There, or there?
F5.
F5?
Yeah.
All right, F5. That looks pretty good. All right. But he plays rook to F4 check. King up. So now it's easy. We just get the king to the edge of the board and we checkmate him, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so play queen check. Now, do we have a funny checkmate here?
Yes.
Good. What's the funny checkmate?
Queen on.
No, that's not funny. Bishop E2. And you can laugh at your opponent. Yes, gotcha. Okay, so those were some funny checkmates from Chess 16. Thank you very much.